I thought this was going to be so easy to do. I was so wrong. Hey there! The Pokemon World Championships 2024 was held in beautiful Honolulu. Unfortunately, I couldn't go there, so I decided to recreate a bit of the Hawaii sunshine right here in the grey autumn clouds of England by making a custom Funko Scuba Pikachu. First things first, I need to remove the head. Normally this means dunking the pop in hot water, but Pikachu's head came off quite easily without needing to do that. His tail also needs to come off. It wouldn't pull out easily, so I did have to pop him in a pot of hot water after all. The hot water basically softens any glued parts and also softens the vinyl. This makes it easier to remove parts without breaking anything. I created a quick mock-up of Scubachu using Affinity Designer. There isn't too much to do for this custom. I need to mask off, airbrush, create a couple of decals and make the scuba gear. I think I might finish this really quickly. For masking, I use this Tamiya masking tape for curves and some cheap supermarket masking tape. I recently purchased this Viejo liquid mask from my local game store, so I am giving that a go on Pika's little paws. Aww, they're so cute. I have never used liquid mask before, so hopefully I won't mess up. I messed up! The liquid mask comes off very easily and I accidentally rubbed some of it off. It is quite difficult to paint more liquid mask on top of existing liquid mask, so I just covered the bits that came off with good old blue tack. Now it is time to prime! I want the pale blue to look really vibrant, so I will be using the white primer. And after about 1,000,000 coats, it was finally primed. I need 2 different blues for Pikachu's scuba outfit. I really don't want to have to buy any, so hopefully I already have something suitable. Let's have a look. What about this? Nah, too pale. Well, maybe it might work. This magic blue is pretty nice. And ooh, this light sea blue is gorgeous. But I don't think there is enough contrast between that and the magic blue. How about just blue? Yep, so much better. But before I do any more spraying, I need to make the scuba gear. I will be using something that I have only ever used once before, Warbla. Warbla is a thermoplastic that can be shaped after being heated up. It is popular with cosplayers and model makers. I went for the pearly one as apparently that is the smoothest one. I started by making a little template for the goggles, and then I got sick. I had something that rhymes with Novid, and there very nearly was Novid. A few sniffles isn't enough to stop me creating, but this variant triggered migraines for me, one of which looked like this. Thankfully, I was able to get back to doing what I love after nearly 2 weeks of not being able to do much at all. I'm cutting out the Warbler, which is a lot harder to do than I thought it would be. It is quite tough and fibrous. I found it easier to use scissors than the craft knife. I also found that sanding it just exposed more of those little fibres. Hopefully when I heat it up, those tiny fibres will stick back down. I am using this heat tool from Hobbycraft. I just want the goggles to curve around Pikachu's face. The good thing about Warbla is that there is no waste. Any offcuts can be heated and reused, which is what I am doing for the snorkel. I really wanted to make a transparent snorkel, but I could not think of anything I could use for it, unfortunately. I am always freezing, so I really enjoyed using this heat tool. There is still the flippers to be made. I had already designed the flippers, so I just used those as a template. I stuck the templates onto the Warbler with some Pritt stick before cutting them out with the scissors. To attach them to Pikachu's feet, I rolled out a thin cylinder of Warbler to make a loop, and I put Pikachu's itty bitty paw into the flipper. When Warbler is heated, it will stick to itself. And also my cutting mat. I repeated the process for the other flipper. These flippers are so flipping cute. Pikachu looks like a little duck. It's almost time to paint, but I need to use that liquid mask again. I also have to mask off with tape on the scuba suit. Now I can finally airbrush on the paint. Oh, no, I can't. I have to prime the rest of the Warbler. I used the white primer for the body, so I guess I'll have to use it for everything else. The only problem with that is that I will be spraying white on white, which will make it hard to tell where I've sprayed. Also, it won't be very exciting for you guys to watch, so let's get that over with and on to the blue paint. I'm using the light sea blue for the flippers, goggles and snorkel. It is such a beautiful colour. After that was all dry, I masked off the legs and part of the arms and sprayed the main part of the outfit in Vallejo Model Air Blue. I then sprayed the ends of the snorkel in yellow. Now for my favourite part, pulling off masking tape. I also had to remove the liquid mask. That stuff worked really well. I am super impressed with it. It might actually replace the blue tack from now on. There was a little bit of hand painting to do on the arms. The paint did seep through on the arm, but nothing a little bit of white paint can't fix. I'm not really used to using Warbler, so maybe I did something wrong, but the paint came off a bit with the masking tape on the snorkel. Here I am using the end of an emery board to mark where I need to paint the darker blue part of the flippers. This is a super awkward angle to paint at. Now that the painting is done, I spray on a coat of Vallejo Premium Satin Varnish. It makes everything look so smooth and also helps the decals stick better. I design the decals in Affinity Designer and I print them out onto white waterslide decal paper. I make a few duplicates in case I ruin any of them. The Pokeball design has got to go underneath Pikachu's arms, but because he won't lift them up for me, I have to cut out a weird shape to make it fit. Thanks, Pikachu. That seems to be okay, so I can go ahead and stick it on. I use Microset to help set the decal in place. Because the decal has to form around a curve, I brush over some microsol. The decals for the flippers are next. Guys, I just spilled microset onto my plaster, and it's soaked all the way through to the cut. This stuff is basically some sort of vinegar, so it really stings. After washing that off and changing the plaster, I added the little lightning bolt decals. I need to add some white stripes to the sleeves, so I'm just going to cut out some white strips from my decal sheet. This little strip had other ideas though, and noped it right out of there. This time there will be no escape decal. Next up is the lens part of the goggles. I cut out some clear plastic, but I need it to be blue, so I'm using some cellophane from these party bags. First I used super glue to stick it to the clear plastic, but it looked very messy, so I cut out a new lens and stuck little strips of double-sided sellotape to it. Then I stuck the cellophane onto the plastic. Now the lens needs stuck onto the goggles. Super glue is too runny and messy, so I'm going to use 2-part epoxy glue. This stuff is easier to use than super glue and has never let me down. Guess what? It let me down. I think I'm going to try the double-sided sellotape. This seems okay. It wasn't. Nothing seems to stick to Warbla except for Warbla. Right, I bought some different double-sided tape. Hopefully this will do the trick. This looks pretty good. It didn't stay that way though. This is driving me crazy. Seriously, I quit. I'm back. I found this bottle of glue behind my spray booth. I may as well try it. It is very stringy, but at this point I'm past caring. I clamped everything together and left it overnight. And yes, it has finally stuck on! Woohoo! It is a little untidy around the inside edge, so I'm sticking in a thin strip of blue electrical tape. The clamps took off a bit of paint, so I just need to sort that, then I can stick the goggles onto Pikachu's head. I am using this Gorilla mounting tape, as it is the stickiest tape I have. It is quite thick though, but it should be okay. I also use it to attach the snorkel. Before I reattach the head, I need to brush over the decals with some satin varnish. This will protect them and take away the shininess. Okay, let's get the head back on.
Pika pika!
Oh, sorry Pikachu, I forgot your tail. The figure is finished. Oh, he looks so cute. But he needs a box. I create the box designs in Affinity Designer. I use bright white presentation card to print out the designs. Wow, my printer is so dusty. Then I laminate everything. I use Fellows 80 microns laminating pouches. Then I cut out the designs. I need to make some folds, so for that I use a bone folder. This gives you nice clean folds. The window is repurposed from the original box and stuck down with double-sided sellotape, as is the rest of the box. Now the box is finished. I want to reuse the original bubble, but Pikachu won't quite fit now that he has flippers and a snorkel. So I cut out some space for them. Yay, now he fits! He is finally finished. I absolutely love his little flippers. I could have done better with the goggles though. They were so much harder to make than I anticipated, and I definitely need more practice with Warbler. Thank you all so much for watching. Here's the final result.